Hey you, it's Allison. I'm a death doula, grief educator, and coach, as well as an end-of-life services planner. Let's talk today about what grief can look like as it manifests itself. The first is exhaustion. Sometimes grief looks like it's over the top, dragging your feet, everything wears you out, tiredness. Number two, irritation. Grief can look like finding everyone and everything super annoying. And sometimes you'll even say to yourself, like, I'm surprised that annoyed me or that's irritating. That didn't ever used to irritate me before. Number three is kind of this feeling of unsettled or disorientation. So grief can make you feel unsettled, disoriented, and totally out of sorts. Like you probably might be saying to yourself, I just can't keep up. I can't keep up with everybody else in the world around me. The next one is anger. And this one surprises a lot of people too. Grief can often make you feel angry and mad at other people, maybe people you had never been mad at before, or the world in general. You might be standing in line at a coffee shop and somebody says something that normally would have rolled right off your back or you would have totally ignored, and it totally is grating you and it makes you angry. Sometimes grief can even look like rage. Anxiety. You might feel deep feelings, intense feelings of feeling worried, on edge. I often describe it as like my body feels like it's on razors, or my emotions feel like they're on razors. And this could be even in the midst of doing daily tasks. I remember specifically the year to 2 years after my dad died, like I felt intense anxiety about piles of paper. Never had bothered me before, but anytime I would see piles of paper or piles of towels, piles of whatever, anxiety through the roof. Grief also creates envy or enviousness. Grief comes out in envy because we think about things that we wish we would have had. Or you'll see, for example, after my dad died, Father's Day came around, and I was so envious of now I'm not getting another one of these with my dad here. And I would feel angry, anxious, and very envious, and wishing things had been different. Grief also amplifies pessimism, even if you haven't been a pessimistic person in the past. Pessimism can sound things like it just feels hopeless right now. I'm not sure if I'll ever see the light again. If I cry, I'll never stop. You are always preparing for the worst. So I know for a lot of my clients, and this happened to me as well, particularly a year or two after the death. It's subsided a little bit, but it does still happen that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. For example, if I don't hear from someone and I've texted them and I don't hear from them for a day or two, my instant thought isn't anymore where it used to be like, are they mad at me? Now it's like, oh, did something happen? Are they dead? Or did they get into an accident? Like I catastrophize what happened. So grief can look like a lot of things and feel like a lot of things. And here's the thing, you can give room to all of those feelings. They're normal. And our society tells us that it's not, or that after a couple of months, we shouldn't be feeling this. What's even more challenging is most people who haven't experienced a significant loss think you're speaking a totally different language, that you're overblowing things, that, I'm going to make them even more sad. All of these things are true and real, and all of it is absolutely normal. So I'm here to tell you you're not alone if you're experiencing one, in most cases, multiple or all of them in a day, in a moment, in a year. And so there's no right or wrong emotion that comes with grief. And it morphs as we mature in our grief. It shifts, and sometimes it doesn't morph or shift. Sometimes it stays stuck exactly where it's at. And those emotions are okay. Here's the thing. Our grief shows up in multiple different ways, and having a support system really helps to navigate grief out of our loneliness. It helps us navigate our grief up towards healing. Now, we never get over grief. Grief never disappears. It just morphs and matures alongside of us. And when we have a support system in place, it helps ease that process just a little bit. So I'm curious for you if you've experienced grief before, have any of these emotions ever popped up for you? And so what were those emotions and what did you experience?